All right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital, nightly strategy podcast for June 8th, 2024. We had a good long coaching session for cohort one. For all the cohort members of any cohort, you'll be able to see that recording later tonight. We spent some time debriefing this particular system. It's the latest version from Jonathan. Over the last 10 trading days, he's had 59 trades, 25 winners, 34 losers. That gives him a 42% win rate and a 58% loss rate. The average win is 1.9. Average loss is minus 0.7. So that is, he wins 2 and loses 3 trades. The winning trades earn 1.9. The losing trades lose minus 0.7. That gives him a payoff ratio of 3.8 for the winning trades and minus 2.1 on the losing trades. And you'll take that all day long. And his expectancy has stabilized here. At 0.42. System quality numbers look good. His histogram, there's no losses greater than -1. So that's the first thing I look at. And then from -1 to +2, in this area, he has a normal looking curve with the bulk of his trades, and that's positive expectancy. And then that's the second thing I look for. And then the third thing I look for is fat right tails. That gives a boost to the system. And you can see that he's got very tight risk control. And then everything that's greater than 1, he's got a nice dispersion of those. So he has them spread out over time. So they're not all in one trade and they're all not coming at one time. He's got a periodicity, a frequency of those things. And that gives him an R capture of 25 R in 10 days. So that nets out to 2.5 R net a day for 10 days. And you can make a living on that. George is working on some automated trading systems. And his numbers look like for an extensive test period. He's also got a 40% win rate, a 60% loss rate, and his average win is 1.1 and average loss is minus 0.6. So that's a 2 to 3 win to loss rate and a payoff of 2 to 1, which gives you 4 to 3. And again, you'll take that one all day. And that's what the cumulative R capture looks like. And the nice thing on this one is we looked at, he was using a 2R trailing stop. And that means that for every winning trade he had, which in this case was about 950 trades, 950 winning trades. If his 2R trailing stop gave him a win at 0.5 of an R net, there was a moment when that trade was at 2.5 R. And so one of the things we're looking at is refining that exit, because an extra, he let 2R slip away on every one of those trades, which represents another 1,800 R to capture compared to the 300 that his system is returning. So there is a considerable opportunity here to improve. Even though this is an acceptable curve, you'd take that all the time. Especially since that is from 513 to 7. That's a 2-month period that's capturing 300R and is leaving 1800R on the table. So we think that that's a system that probably has some room for some improvement. So that's what we're doing in the coaching group. Yeah, this was the same system over a slightly longer period of time. That was also getting a 2-to-1 payoff. A 2-to-1 payoff and a 40% win rate. And that had also with the 2R trailing stop. So we take, if you could add 2R to every one of those winning trades, you got a significant opportunity. And it's trading in just a standard set of symbols that are liquid: Cliff, diamonds, Mexico, Bitcoin, international paper, and McDonald's. And it's not a surprise to me that DIA and EWW are the two biggest payoffs, which is why that we focus on those with new traders learning these systems, because it gives you the best average efficiency and SQN and reward opportunities on two large non-correlated indexes. So if you're interested in that, Foundations course and coaching is your path to, it's a proven path to success, I can say that. And you'll find out pretty quickly if it suits you. Sniper trades of the day. This is DIA. This is on 3-minute charts. I was tempted to enter at the yellow dot as it was at a nice gap up and was running away. I waited for the OR3 discipline, however, and I got the entry at the continuation. It quickly lost a half. I got short when it crossed the VWAP and flipped the PSAR. Got a quarter back, if I can say it that way. Re-entered with a Kata 2 collapsing dragon, and that paid off nicely going into lunch, and netted about 2R for the day on DIA. This is EWW Mexico on 10 minutes. There's your OR10 breakout with a standard risk and a fractional win. A Kata 2 continuation with a half an hour loss. Kata 2 continuation with a 2R win, so that nets 1.5 for the day. This is McDonald's. That's your OR10, and it's stuck inside that little channel. But it's been vulnerable, so when it crossed the Bollinger Band mean and broke the PSAR, I got short with a standard risk, and it paid off about 2R with a standard exit at the skin of the dragon. I tried the SSC, supported spring crossing, for a micro loss and then reversed and had a micro win. So those two kind of net out, and it made 2R for the day. This is SPY on 3 minutes. So the green box is yesterday's closing or Friday's closing. Here's the gap up opening. Here's the OR3. This one's for you, Jay. So it stayed inside that OR3 channel. And then when it finally got legs right here, I looked at this as support. And then it broke across the VWAP. I decided to give that a try with a standard risk box. That's our 60 cents of a wrist box, $6 on the SPX. A fractional win. This is the PSAR flip. So now what do we have here? We have the R10 rolling over. It enters the dragon, the R10. Price breaks through the VWAP. The R10 is breaking through the VWAP and the PSAR flip and crossing the skin of the dragon. So I get short with a standard risk. That again, that's $6 in SPX, 60 cents in SPY. I considered the exit there. I was very close to pulling the trigger. If you do pull the trigger, you got to re-enter on that next bar right there. And this gave about half an hour back, so there wasn't much play in the SPX, SPY in the morning. All of this style trading is connected to our standard sniper work, where we're looking for specific patterns for the setup. We frame them. We have 4 specific patterns that we use: supported spring crossing, Kata 2, collapsing dragon, Z3 pinch. We execute that according to rules. We just follow the rules, follow the price, do all our thinking and preparing here, finding targets, framing the targets so that we have multiple R reward to risk ratios in both directions. And then we simply manage our exits in the usual way. And then we study our results and use the evidence to make decisions to modify or update any of those rules as we go. We use the professional performance model to improve our internal self-talk. And we have a course that teaches that now, that the Army is going to adopt as well, that I wrote last week. Turns out that in the discovery phase, when you're learning new skills and learning your self-talk and you're nervous, it usually can be attributed to your qualities as an introverted expert, where you'd rather work by yourself alone and not in public, or if you're a reluctant leader, meaning you've expanded the scope of your responsibility and don't necessarily feel like you're fully competent yet for the responsibilities that you have. And then we have an anxious perfectionist who is extremely concerned about getting every detail correct. Initially, the negative side of those qualities can feel like something you have to overcome until you can begin to develop skills to improve your self-talk, which is communications, and improve your performance, which is professional. When you get into the development stage, we want to have the resilience and persistence of a badger so that we're always going, thick skin. We get sharp teeth and claws to do the work. And then we're a mindful scout so that we can be always working on the most important thing. And we have the qualities of a diligent student so that we learn lessons deeply and fully and document it and build on that until such time as we've developed enough broad-ranging skills that we can really optimize our performance, in which case we're using the qualities of the Dharma warrior to remain focused on our vision and our long-term goals so that we cannot be persuaded out of our mission because it's integral to who we are, our identity. And we are a resourceful catalyst in that we can bring a lot of different qualities to bear into the projects and work that we do with others, and that we have a attitude of a master craftsman who is humble and careful and professional and uses tools properly, adapts those tools when needed, and creates tools to make work easier and better to improve quality. When you're in the development and performance level, when you go back and take a look at the areas where you were having trouble, you realize In fact, those are not weaknesses at all. But when you look at the positive aspect of this, the introverted expert is actually a person who is committed to doing the work themselves and trusting their own hard-earned judgment and expertise. So we actually want to be responsible for doing our own due diligence so that we can own the responsibility for the results. And a reluctant leader is one who nevertheless leads, but always remembers to be humble and to consult others, but to take responsibility for the choices that we make. So that's actually a positive frame of mind to be in as a leader. You don't go off the deep end after a string of successes. You're always mindful of the risk that you're taking on with your decision making for the benefit of others. And then the anxious perfectionist is a strength because you actually are committed to continuous improvement and approaching improvement each and every day. And what you learn is that perfection is the goal, but the standard is daily improvement. And so once we get into the development and performance phase, we realize that by coming back and reframing each of these personas or qualities, we can actually learn to use those as strength going forward. The individual expertise allows us to keep going and to generate artifacts that we can use to help others. The reluctant leader is then supported by his own mindful scout to make sure that you know the areas that need the most attention and that you work on the ones that need the most attention, not the ones that are just fun, but the ones that are needing the work. And then that's what the merging of those is what ends up helping you create the Dharma warrior who's committed to the long-term vision. And the anxious perfectionist studies their craft as a diligent student, and through that continuous, resilient, relentless effort, fueled by the persistence of the badger, you end up creating the qualities of the master craftsman. So if those are the 9 external ones, there's another one that we think of here as the trail boss, who is overall responsible to you and to your boss. The trail boss is the one who has to make sure that each and every one of these guys is contributing to the successful performance of the overall team. So the hidden piece in all this is the idea of the trail boss, who's the coordinator, the synchronizer, the chief of staff, the project manager, the one who delivers on behalf of the owner or the person that you are serving, whether that's your estate or your spouse or your children or the family tribe that you are responsible for supporting. So that's the 10 members of the professional performance model, linked together by the trail boss, supported by all of these through the 3 phases. You might be interested in that course to help you with your project management. And it turns out that what you think is just an discomfort in speaking in public is really the external manifestation, EXT, the external manifestation of your inner state of mind, because you are constantly evaluating your own knowledge and the justification for that knowledge. And this self-talk is mirrored in the way that you speak about your work in public. And so communications is not just a way to learn to speak in public, but it is a deep reflection of where you are in the inner world and the outer world. So it turns out that the things that you do to improve your public speaking always come back to the way that you improve your self-talk through effort and developing skills and documenting your progress and being able to simply tell the truth about where you are after a good assessment. So we want that self-talk to be anchored in truth and accuracy and transparency, which is why we place such an important emphasis on the assessment phase so that we can create the evidence to justify our beliefs, which leads to the actions that we take to improve. And then we use good, prudent risk management to keep locking in our gains as we move up the hill of performance. And that's what the trail boss is doing for us, is making sure that we don't backslide, that discipline and systems thinking and commitment to continuous improvement allows us to keep going. So that's what we talk about in this course on professional performance. And we talk about that on a weekly basis in the coaching program as well. And we use the foundations course as the toolkit that you are building towards mastery and expertise with. You don't have to get all of it before you start trading. You can become a diligent student trading on the important tasks at hand with the thick skin of the resilient badger as you're developing skill. That's what it takes to become professional. All right, let's take a look at the way the traders work today. Oh no, that's the that's the report. Sorry. As I was saying, let's look at the traders. Here's Tim in Devon Energy. And he has found a target in a critical state, planning. He's framed it out correctly, preparation. He executes the short and then cashes a no lose plus dinner for two, then re-enters on a collapsing dragon and gets 2.8 with careful risk management all the way down, and nets 3.2. He could have entered here, chose not to because of reasons, justified. So he brings home 3.2 on that trade series today. This is Brian, and you ought to see the stats on his work in this series. Holy mackerel. We coached that over the weekend. Scratched the first one, scratched the second one, didn't take the next one for reasons unknown, but left a lot of money on the table there. But the gold trade gets this leg for 1.4, and he's cruising right along. So all systems go. Hamad brings home 3 out of DIA on the 10-minute chart. Could have added a second one, elected not to, but still gets 3. Trades the opening in the correct fashion. Gets a micro win in EWW, micro loss in EWZ as it happens. This is Jonathan. With 1.03 on the 3 minutes in EWW, perfectly played. There was another one available here he didn't get, but he does get the Kata 2. This is on DIA, misses the trade that would make this completely successful. I think both of these re-entries are late, but this one would have paid for all of it. Kevin has adapted on I think it's in Trading View. He's looking at a 9-minute as a perfect fractal of the 3-minute. And so he's using 9-minute bars to calculate his dragons and regression lines, but trading on the execution of the 3 minutes. This is an example of that where he brings home 2.2. And this gives a very orderly dragon, more to follow. So here he is working his experiment with accountability and transparency. It brings home 2.2. I love this Kata 2 continuation collapsing dragon. This is such a great exit. And then the re-entry here and recovery. And then if he gets this, he adds another 2. So this is looking pretty good. Very orderly, very smooth. This is feeling very, very relaxed. He's already marked off the sizes of his R5s and frog boxes for a standard trading target. So well done there. Looking at our daily reports now. For those of you in the coaching cohorts, we did a 2-hour session on Sunday to talk about how to do position trading and swing trading and day trading separately, but then also how to integrate them with core and turbo so you get a synthesis and an information exchange, and then what that looks like as meta system management. So it's a 2 hour discussion of that topic, which you will find in the coaching replay videos available to everybody in the coaching program, including folks that join us in the future. An outstanding presentation along with today's little workshop. Very good work being done. We've already seen the trade of the day. Our 150-day window for the sniper. This is making all-time highs. So we just hold our nose and keep going. Can't explain it. Don't need to. Today's small range, good close. We'll see. High watermark. You can see the last 4 days have been just extraordinary. The only issue I have here, my concern, is that while we had 3 really strong days in the holiday, this was sort of a natural peak. You're on the 30-minute, you're getting the owl rollover. So for me, my stop is here at the 3-day anchored VWAP. I'm not going to let it take those wins and let it go negative. So I could justify a stop here. I could justify a stop at 554. There's your 5-day anchored VWAP and your 10-day anchored VWAP here, and your 30-day. This is your 10-day low. So under no circumstances do you let it come all the way back here. But you can see how strong those last 30 days have been in the last 3, 5, and 10 days that have deposited price all the way up here. As the world watches Joe Biden melt down, the market continues to drift ahead. There won't be any legislation that affects anything in the market, so it's kind of trading under the radar until November-ish. But this is very fragile with respect to news from the Democratic side. They're weeks away from making the decision, so we'll see how it goes. This is optimal trading opportunities for the short-term trader, in my view. We're bullish, quiet, strongly overbought, excuse me. Volatility favors sharp moves in either direction. Ideal short-term trading. You had big breakouts in Apple, Intel, Tesla, and Texas Instruments. The semis are starting to rock. Strong moves in energy, the Qs and the S&P and the ETFs. All systems go. Auto framer for standard work. If you've been through the foundations course, you know how to put that into action each and every day. There's our auto framer from TC 2000 setups. Some good ones in there. Home Depot and IP and Disney all in great shape. You like to see strong moves in Home Depot and IP, International Paper. They're up today, so they're already moving in the right direction, but they still have a 5-to-1 reward to risk ratio to the 10-day high and 3.4. So that's why you love those. Disney, I'm more neutral on because it was down today, but it is offering 6.5-to-1. But to me, Home Depot and IP are ideally postured because you're getting second-day momentum there. Strong summer and spring in the 4 seasons. The index was split between big losers like Nike, Cisco, McDonald's, and big winners like Tesla, Apple, Intel. And the same thing over here in the ETFs, a mix between winners and losers, but being dominated here by Mexico, the U.S. techs, and the S&P. All right, that's everything for today. We'll get this published and posted, and we shall see you tomorrow. Take good care. Thank you for your patience.